Welcome to Spin Justice with me, Hayley Owens, the podcast where I'll be talking about anything from health and fitness to the injustices of the world and everything in between. I've worked within the criminal justice system for over 20 years and have more recently taken to teaching indoor cycling, otherwise known as spin. Each week I'll be talking to a different guest about a topic that's personal to them, whether it be to raise awareness or just because. Most episodes will contain strong language because of who I am as a person, so if that's not for you, then probably best to swerve. Any opinions expressed by me are my own. Today's episode is sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence. Big up to Danger and the team there for all the amazing things they're doing in the community, whether it be kids classes or one-to-one boxing training. So if you or anyone you know are interested in improving their fitness, because why wouldn't you, make sure you give them a shout. Welcome, Connor Mooney.
Thank you.
When I first asked you to come on, you were like, nah, not yet. And then obviously we've spoke since and you've been like, yeah, go on. What made you change your mind?
Listening to the podcast, obviously.
Okay.
Thinking of it from not my personal output, more about my business and the brand.
Yeah.
To get the brand out there. And also kind of just looking back at my storyline. And I actually thought at the start, no, I'm only in the early stages of my kind of career.
Yeah.
But really looking back, I'm so far into
You
it.
are.
So kind of that was the... Actually, yeah, it would be nice to hear my story now, looking back in 10 years' time of where I was.
And I was thinking about this on the way in, quite inspirational to the youngsters, because there's a lot of people that you coach or that are, come to your camp and things like that will look at you as an inspiration, and I think they'd really like to hear that.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I will try and keep the swearing to a minimum.
Yeah.
Because we all know my foul mouth, but I will try and keep it down because I know there will be some young people listening. But I think they probably would, they massively look at you as an inspiration. I know my Jack does. He's been to the camps, so that is interesting. So yeah, I'm glad you decided to. Right, first question, have you done your ice bath today?
I have indeed.
Tell me about this. I know we're on day 55.
Yeah.
And I watch your Instagram. Yesterday's one, where you put your cup of tea on the ice in the bath. I literally was like, oh my God, this is where you're going to have to dig deep now, innit?
Yeah.
Go on.
So yeah, I've started to leave the lid off it because I wanted it to be colder, which sounds crazy, but because I've been doing it for so long now, starting in September, my body's kind of got used to it, and it isn't giving me the feeling of what it would. So I kind of couldn't wait until the water got to like single digits. So I left the lid off it to make it a little bit colder. And then when I come out yesterday morning and it frozen, I thought, right, now I'm looking forward to actually doing it. Not looking forward to it, but I wanted to see how I could cope with it, basically.
And how did you cope?
And yeah, it wasn't too bad. Just a lot more breathing. So a lot of it is within the breathing technique. And if I started to do it yesterday and I hadn't like kind of prepared myself to do it and built up the resilience, if you say, I probably would have been like and trying to catch my breath. But because I've got used to it and obviously got used to the breathing, it didn't take me away as much. It hurt, like my toes were freezing.
Painful.
Yeah. But like I don't do it for how I feel in the moment. It's more the aftermath.
Right. And I really want to go into this in detail. Right. So first of all, let's just start with why you set yourself this challenge because you were doing the ice baths anyway, weren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you set yourself this challenge to do how many days?
90 days up to Christmas Day.
Up to Christmas Day from September.
Yeah.
You do them quite early in the morning, yeah? So what time?
Depending when I get up, really, and depends what I've got going on that day. So it might be 7 o'clock, anything between 7 and 9 o'clock, really. I mean, yesterday it was a lot colder at 8 o'clock than it would have been at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So I left it a little bit longer. But any time between 7 and 9, really. the first reason why I ever even contemplated it, I mean, playing football as a young kid, we used to do what we call hot and cold. So you would go into the cold jacuzzi and then the hot jacuzzi and the cold jacuzzi, like 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off.
Right.
And it helps with recovery, basically. And you'd always finish with the cold in the cold jacuzzi. So I always done that as a kid. And a lot of footballers out there that play would have always done the ice bath during pre-season, like when it's high impact and high intensity and stuff. And then I watched a program called Wim Hof.
Oh, I watched it.
And that really got me into always doing it. So maybe this time last year I started to do cold showers.
Yes.
So yeah, that's really what got me into it to start with.
For recovery, because you've talked about recovery, and is that the only reason that you've really taken this up on such a level now, doing it every day?
Recently, no. That's why I first thought about it first. It will help me. And then when I watched Wim Hof, then he went into like people getting over certain traumas and stuff like that. So that didn't really appeal to me, but I wanted to feel the benefits of it. And cold showers, like this time last year, just made me feel alive. And recently, the reason why I've recently started is I got myself an ice bath. And then I'm not a morning person. Like I really struggle in the mornings because throughout my whole life over the last 10 years, I've always been busy of an evening. The mornings have never been, apart from a certain stage, I've never been one to just bounce out of bed. I really struggle with it. So that's why I started and really needed help. So after the summer, after the 6 weeks holidays, I was in a good routine of getting up because we had our summer camps on, getting up, bouncing out of bed, getting ready, getting to work early. Whereas after the summer, September come, I kind of took a little bit of a break and had like not a week off in terms of doing work, but my routine changed and I was staying in bed a little bit longer and I was a lot more relaxed and the urgency to go to the gym wasn't as much. So I needed something to kind of get me back into the swing of things and help me in the mornings, really.
Yeah.
So that's why I started it, to give me a bit more of a get up and go.
And how long do you spend in there?
This morning was only 2 minutes.
2 minutes is a long time.
So I was doing it between 3 and 4 minutes.
I think that's long.
Yeah.
I think in the temperature that I saw yesterday, in my head, and I'm really glad I asked you that question now, in my head I thought 60 seconds.
Yeah.
But if you're doing 2 minutes, I'd say that's
2
decent.
minutes this morning. Yesterday was 3 minutes. But anything between 2 and 4 minutes, really. I don't really time it. I let my body tell me when I'm ready. Like when I first get in and it stings and stuff like that, that's when you have to kind of push through it and just get it done, really.
So talk me through that bit then. You get in, it's hell on earth, yeah, and you're in pain almost. Is that when you think, breathe? Control the breathing.
I'm breathing before I even get in. Sit down, Juno. Get down.
Come on. Good girl. So yeah, the breathing side of things.
Yeah, so because obviously watching Wim Hof and doing the showers, I know that you have to breathe and focus on your breathing before you actually get in. Otherwise, it's just going to take your breath away and you're going to struggle with it. So the breathing allows you to focus a lot more on just doing it.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of heavy breathing beforehand. And then once I get in, it's just more about like making sure you continue to breathe to not allow it to take your breath away.
Yeah.
And then it's just about getting used to it stinging. Yeah. And then once it stings, it's just, once your body's adapted to it, then it's more, then you can relax.
Yeah.
Relax and listen to the birds, or sometimes I might listen to your podcasts or listen to some music or whatever.
And then I suppose at that stage, as your breathing calmed down, like, because that's what I want to do it. I've talked about it before. I talked about it with George Thorpe, didn't I? And you know, after that episode, 2 people messaged me. One sent me a discount code to get one. And another one said, I've got one in the garden, you can have it. Like, we ain't using it. So I've got opportunities here now. There's not really an excuse for me. And I am going to do it. And I don't know whether to start it in the new year.
Yeah.
From, like you've done September to December, I might do from January to March, like a 66. Remember Gymshark did that 66 thing? I might do it in that way. I don't know. Give me some inspiration, people. Give me, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, I think for me, it's, yes, for my recovery, because I'm on the bike all the time, I'm aching and I'm not too bad these days because I'm doing it every day. But recovery-wise, I don't think I look after myself as much as I should. And I think for me, it's a massive interest of mine, and I do watch you do it every day because I'm just so amazed by it. Yeah. In fact, Dave, who was on episode 1, he's just got one. And he was like, just come and use mine. But obviously that's a mission then, isn't it? Because I'm having to go to someone else's house. I just need to get one in my own garden. Yeah. Get up in the morning, do what you do.
I think that's what it is. I make myself a tea or like a thermal tea, whatever I have in the morning. And then I just get it done there and then because otherwise you procrastinate. And sometimes on a Saturday morning before my game, I'll leave it and then I'll wait to do it until after football to
recover.
Yeah. And then it was getting to like 11 o'clock on a Saturday night when I'm chilling and I don't really want to do it. So now on a Saturday morning, I'll make sure I do it before. And if I'm honest, it makes me a lot more alert and a lot more alive to go to football, which is obviously one of the benefits of doing it.
That's the point. It's a bit like meditation. I'm a big advocate for meditation. And I think if you do it first thing in the morning, you're going to do it. If you don't do it, same thing's going to happen. It's going to come to a point where you've got to find that 10 minutes then some point in the day and you ain't going to do it. So if you do it as soon as you get up, it's more likely to become a habit. Yeah. But it's hard.
And it's trying to get a routine and a structure back. I haven't been able to train in the gym properly recently. I've got a bit of a problem with like my the soft tissue in my chest. So what I was doing when I was getting up and doing it in the mornings is getting me into the gym a lot earlier as well and kind of winning the morning, winning the day because I was just getting it done. Whereas before I used to train on an evening. And if I train on an evening, have a sauna on an evening, then I'm awake until early hours of the morning. So there's no routine in it at all. But yeah.
Do you find you're sleeping better off it then? Do you find getting that done first thing in the morning?
Not really. No. It hasn't sorted my sleeping out. It depends what I do on the weekends, really. If I go to bed late on a Saturday night, then I really struggle of getting the routine back from Monday to Friday, really.
Well, we went out Saturday night, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you have a late night that night?
Yeah. So I always struggle. If I go to bed late, I really struggle at getting up in the mornings because I kind of work for myself. There's no one relying on me to be anywhere at a certain time. So if I want to have an extra hour in bed, I can. But yeah, it hasn't really... It's helped with the structure, but it hasn't helped enough with the sleeping pattern.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start doing it, man. Right, yeah, come on.
100%
so I'm gonna do it. Tell me about your background. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Ladywood.
I thought you did.
Right next to the city centre until I can't remember what age we moved away from Ladywood, but maybe 12, 13. I think so. Yeah, grew up in Ladywood, moved to Woodgate Valley. Age 12, 13, I think.
So high school?
Secondary school, yeah.
What school did you go to?
Bishop Challoner.
So that's back in town, isn't it?
Kingsheath.
Kingsheath, okay.
Kingsheath,
not great with that.
Yeah, so...
is that Catholic school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went there because a couple of the lads from my primary school would go in there, but also it was a sports college. So that's one thing I wanted to...
So you had to travel there every day?
Long journey.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And how did you find that? How was it in school? What was that like for you, school days?
In terms of primary school, I've never been the most academic. I've always been football through and through. And that's all really what I've known. A lot of people or everyone in school knew me because I played football. Moving into secondary school, I think especially the teachers and stuff, everyone again knew me for football, but I wasn't the most academic, but the teachers pushed me a lot more in the classroom and got the best out of me. And it gave me a lot more balance of not just being the sports person, but getting better grades at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's, I'm quite passionate about this because my boys are not particularly academic, but they're sporty. was talking to a teacher about it yesterday, and I was saying like how. Well, in fact, I was talking to Thomas's PE teacher at the parents' evening, and like I was saying, you know, like I've said it before, like you talk to a different subject teacher, and it's that, you know, he's not interested in that. Whereas if you talk to the PE teacher, he's the best thing since sliced bread. Do you know what I mean? So like my kids, I'm not academic. I didn't get very good grades. It just so happened that I went to work in an office after I left school, and then back then, I don't know if you remember this because you're a bit younger than me, but the jobs used to be out in the Evening Mail on a Thursday. Just like looking for a job because I was being made redundant, and I was circling all these jobs, and one that come up was working for West Midlands Police, so I just went for it. And obviously at 18, started working there till like, I don't know, about 37 or something like that. So that was just pure luck for me. It wasn't really that I needed any grades. Back then, like now you need a degree to get into the police, like, and things like that. But back then, you know, it was different. Oh, thanks, love. Dribble everywhere. So yeah, like that's what it was like for me. But I keep trying to say this to the kids, you know, it's not all about the grades. I know we have to say to our kids, you know, stick it out and do your exams and all that. But really speaking, like if you've got a topic or a subject or whatever that you are particularly passionate about, like you with your football, does it really make a difference?
Especially this day and age, like there's a lot more remote jobs and online jobs that don't necessarily need you to have a degree or need to have, like, a lot of it you can research. Like a lot of the jobs online you can teach yourself through YouTube and stuff like that, and even just being a YouTuber. Do you know what I mean? So nowadays, obviously education is important if you want to do anything that requires you to have a degree, but I love
she
that.
Can get herself comfort.
I love that.
Carl, you seen this?
He's dog friendly, isn't he?
He's looking we're dog friendly. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, you go into like vocations week. Did you go into St Peter's for vocations week?
Yeah.
And obviously that's a massive one for the kids now because a lot of them want to be like you know. But I remember going into St Peter's and there was like a board of like, when I grow up, I want to be. Now, back obviously in my day, it might have been stuff like a nurse or a doctor or a teacher or a policeman or whatever.
Yeah.
And I saw so many of them that said influencer.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, this is mad, like how we've come to this.
Yeah, even when I was growing up, you would never have got that.
No?
Like, it's over the last 10 years that it's really, like, blown up and actually you can have a job from it.
Yeah, exactly that. So from leaving school then, especially being a sports college, where did the journey go?
So, I played for Aston Villa until I was 16, basically. And then after 16 is obviously when you start, either you do your scholarship at Villa or you go into whatever you're going into. At the time, I went into sixth form. So in year 11, I spoke to, obviously, the people who sorted your next steps out. And I basically just said, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to do PE. That's all I want to do. And you had to, basically you had to pick more than one subject. And I said, I want to do PE, that's it.
Yeah.
So throughout sixth form, I carried on at Bishop Challoner doing PE in sixth form.
Okay.
And again, sat down with the same teacher.
Careers advisor type people.
Exactly, yeah. At the back end of sixth form, and said, I just want to continue my education in sport. So then they pointed me in the direction of university.
Okay.
So then I went and studied sports coaching at Wolverhampton University.
How did you find that with not being massively academic?
I didn't think I was going to get accepted into university, I'll be honest with you. Somehow, luckily, I did. In secondary school, my grades definitely improved, and I put a lot more, especially when I got released, time and effort into sixth form to make sure I had something else next. But yeah, I don't know how, but Yeah, I got the UCAS points to actually go to numerous couple of different options as well. It wasn't just one, but I didn't really want to move away. I wanted to stay at home, which is why I chose Wolverhampton.
Yeah. See, with me, like, I never went to uni, and the thought of that now, even at this age, is daunting to me because I'm not. Oh God, I'm a doer. We have to do these like accreditations and stuff at work, and I just find it so tedious. They know I can do the job.
Yeah.
Why?
You're just ticking boxes.
I'm having to write down or evidence things, and I'm like, I tell them because that's the way I am. But like, I'm like, why though? You know, I've been doing this for years. Like, but it really is daunting to me, and I hate it if I'm honest. I don't like that side of it. It's just not me. I'm so much of a doing kind of person. So the thought of uni, but yeah. Fair play, you did that, and obviously, so I just want to quickly go back. You said at 16 you stopped playing for Villa, is that right? What age did you start playing?
7.
Right. Oh my God.
So yeah, so it's the first ever football team I played for, and I never played obviously anyone until I got released.
So 9 years. How did you find that?
So it was under 8, so I was 7, and then because I'm August born, I was 15 at the time, under 16s. So if I wouldn't change anything. It was the best time of my life. It gave me loads of opportunities, played and was coached at a high level. I played with some of the obviously strongest players within the Midlands at the time. And yeah, I played football every day. So when you love football and you can play football every day and you can go and travel to Chelsea or Tottenham or the best teams, Birmingham City. Yeah, couldn't complain really, loved it.
So being a Blues fan and playing for Villa,
yeah,
how was that?
All my mates in school used to like banter me about it and stuff and say, you have to wear a Villa top and stuff. And when I was younger, like under 7s, under 8s, under 9s, I used to wear a Blues top underneath my Villa top.
Did you?
Yeah, and then obviously I'm playing for a professional team, so it didn't really faze me. There was a couple of blue noses in our team, so I wasn't the only one.
Yeah.
But yeah, never ever thought of actually moving to the Blues or whatever.
Yeah.
Just had to kind of accept it and just get on with it.
I've got a friend whose sons play for Wolves, to sort of like what you're explaining now. They're sort of like, I don't know, I want to say like 30, 12 and 10, say. Been there years, but they're Villa fans. So like it must be, it's the same, but it's quite hard, I would imagine, like, especially like, getting ripped by your mates and stuff. But it's obviously from us at our ages now, looking back, just it's not a big deal, is it?
If it was going to allow me to become a professional footballer, then I wouldn't move anywhere. But also the facilities and stuff, they'd recently built Bodymore Heath, which we had swimming pool, sauna, steam room, brand new gym. And it was a long way away. It's by like Drayton Manor. But compared to Blues, it had a lot more better facilities. So I'm glad, it's crazy to say, but I'm glad I played for them because I had the opportunities to do all of that and to do the hot and cold plunge pool and all of that.
So from 16 then, obviously you went off to uni.
Yeah. And
then talk me through what happened from then, because like you've been coaching from what, 19 was it?
Yeah, 19, 20.
So you got your qualifications basically in those years?
Yeah, so I went to university to study sports coaching, but I always knew I wanted to be involved in football. It wasn't necessarily sport in general, it was football. So when I was at university, that's when I found out to coach football, you actually don't need to go to university unless you want to do like video analysis or something along the lines of that. If you just want to coach football, you only need to get your coaching qualifications. So while I was at university, I got my coaching qualifications through the FA.
How long did that take?
Not very long. Like your level 1 at the time probably took 2 weeks. And it was like face to face. Level 1's quite basic if you know football. Then your level 2, that takes a little bit longer. Or it's all online now. Like level 1 and level 2 can be completed online, which means it's a lot longer process. Level 2, maybe 6 weeks, if that. But yeah, it didn't take very long. And then you go on to then your UEFA B, which is then if you want to start to work in an academy, you need minimum UEFA B. That takes a full year, and you need to be kind of working within the 9-a-side or 11-a-side game for a team. So it's more about not coaching individuals, it's more about coaching a team and having a philosophy and having a style of play and stuff like that.
So I'm just thinking of kids that might be, or people, not necessarily just kids, people that might be thinking that that might be a career for them, or, you know, a lifestyle that they want to go down.
Yeah.
We're talking, what, within 18 months you could be qualified?
Yeah.
We're talking level 3, or the end one is about a year.
Yeah.
And then the first 2 maybe, I don't know. So yeah. Well,
so the UEFA B, you have to get accepted onto it. So you have to have a level of experience before they would say yes, you can have it. So when you first start coaching, level 1, level 2, you could have within, I'd say, the first year, if you are a decent coach and you've played football and you understand football. Then obviously you have to gain a lot more experience and especially coach a team before you would then get accepted onto the next one. But you don't have to go to university to become a football coach.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line, isn't it? Yeah. So what happened then? When you're fully qualified now, was TNG born then, or is that something that's come later?
A lot later. So I kind of looked over my storyline, and like I said, I thought I was at the start of my journey, but really I'm a lot further into it than I kind of looked like new. So after university, I actually travelled to the States and coached football in America, in Texas.
How?
Just through a company that took English coaches out there to coach the Americans, because it was back then, 2016, football was still fairly new to America.
Right.
And I'd still say to this day, it's still fairly new. I had a lot of like older coaches who were like from there, locals, watching my sessions, whereas my sessions were basic. I'd not long been into coaching, but a lot of their coaches would, because it's completely different to NFL or basketball. They was watching my sessions and watched how I progressed a simple practice into, it could be one practice that built up into 4 practices with slight progressions, and they found that like kind of amazing. So yeah, coached in America. Pre-America, I started to work in like schools and started to deliver like PE sessions and stuff while I was at uni, for like placements, and started coaching for a performance academy on the evenings too. So before I went to America, I had quite a bit of experience. Then once I returned, I kind of went back to delivering in schools, coaching for the Performance Academy. So the Performance Academy there was 2 separate businesses. One of them was like very similar to TNG of an evening, and then one of them was just your school sessions, your PE sessions, multi-sports, etc. So I always had kind of 2 jobs. So I was always busy in the day and the evenings, and I still played football at the same time.
Today's episode is sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence, situated on Maryvale Road in Birmingham and delivering fitness for the whole family. Big up to Danger and the team there for the amazing work they're doing in the community. For more information, check out the description below for their contact details. So, because I was thinking about this with the multi-sports and stuff you were just saying, because obviously a lot of schools use an outside provider, don't they, to teach football or whatever. Yeah. So how was that? How did you find it?
That taught me a lot more about not just coaching. It's all about like understanding children's characters and managing a class of 30 on yourself and trying to deal with not the naughty kids, but the ones that are a lot more hyper and class management really, and how to be strict when you need to be, and how to build rapport with children. And that's what teaching in schools taught me. Obviously, you're teaching basketball, you can teach or you can teach certain coordinations and stuff. That's what PE is about, getting them to be physically active, but teaching him the basics of can they catch a ball properly. And this is when the younger ages, obviously. Can they deal with pressure when they're in year 6? Can you perform under pressure and stuff like that? So that's what your multi-sports PE is in primary schools. Now they have outside providers come in because primary schools don't employ. Well, some of them do nowadays, but they don't employ like full-time members of PE staff. It's sometimes they ask the teachers to deliver it. The teachers hate doing it unless they're quite sporty themselves.
Yeah.
But that's why secondary schools have PE teachers, because they're employed by the school. Primary schools don't do that.
So your coaching of an evening then, back when you were working in the schools, what was that called? Or were you working for someone or?
Yeah, it was a business that had a performance academy, so very similar to TNG. It was high level coaching, trying to take in the best kids, not academy kids, but like grassroots kids, and teach them a high level of coaching. But it was more to do with the individual. So I was coaching a group of maybe 16 players, coaching the individual of the basics. So very similar to personal training, but in a group environment. Can I develop each individual rather than developing a team? So I'd done that alongside my schoolwork, and then I got in touch with a guy who I've always been into the gym as well. So I got into something called Herbalife, which was like network marketing.
Yeah.
So very similar to like Avon.
Yeah.
So I've always been into the gym. I've always been big into my nutrition and my recovery and stuff like that. So I basically started to do Herbalife as well. So I had multiple income streams. And because as a football coach, there's not a lot of, you don't get paid enough because it's not a full-time role, basically.
Yeah.
You're having 2 hours here and an hour break here and 2 hours there, and then you get 2 hours break, or you do an after-school club. Then you do your evening performance academies. So I always tried to supplement my income in different ways, and Herbalife was another string to my bow as such. So I'd done schoolwork, performance academy coaching on evenings, played football, and then Herbalife alongside that as well.
I know a bit about it, Herbalife, but so were you taking, was it like supplement type things? Or?
Yeah, so it's like recovery shakes or healthy breakfast shakes.
Yeah.
So they've got a sports range and like a breakfast range basically, and it gives you all your nutrition and stuff like that. Which is why I got in it. A lot of people use it to lose weight.
Yeah.
I actually used it alongside my meals because I've always been struggling with putting weight on, because I'm always physically active, always coaching. The type of like body I have, I've never been able to put a lot of weight on or muscle. So I had it alongside my
your meals.
My meals, yeah.
So okay, so you were taking it as well then, as well as like.
So then I'd then also, obviously anyone that was looking to get into better shape and stuff like that. It was like a supermarket. I was the supermarket. I was the middleman. If anybody wanted to buy it, then they'd just buy it through me, and I'd earn like a commission off it, basically.
Yeah. So
I'd done that alongside the coaching, and it just fit in really well with my schedule.
Yeah. So what was the next step then?
So
I want to get to where TNG was born. Come on, man.
So I'd done that until I actually had 2 different roles as well. After that, was one of them was a general manager for a company.
Okay.
So I stepped kind of away from coaching a little bit and was a coordinator and started to coordinate members of staff and stuff like that in the coaching world.
Right.
And that kind of taught me like the admin and stuff like that. And then COVID hit. So COVID hit 2020. And during COVID, that's when I really went into Herbalife, because everything was online, fitness classes and stuff. So Herbalife worked really well alongside COVID. So I actually had a fantastic time. After COVID, I then I lost my job, and then went into... I started to build the vision of TNG. I thought, right now, I'm always going to go into football coaching. Why not do it for myself? So during COVID, or just like after the restrictions like eased, I built a business plan and a business model, and started to build the logo and stuff. But I always knew it wasn't going to be a quick fix. I always knew I wasn't going to get a business up and running to where I want it to be straight away.
Yeah.
So I actually qualified as a personal trainer. So I'm a level 3 personal trainer, level 2 fitness instructor. So I started to do one-to-one sessions, personal training,
Yeah.
with my Herbalife on the side while kind of starting TNG. And then I kind of...
She can. Have you rustled a packet there, Carl? Because she's heard you eating, and now she's coming. So yeah, go on.
So then I started TNG by hosting a football tournament at Newman. So I invited like 20 teams down to come and play a football tournament with the view of collecting data to then offer them our services at a player development program.
Ah, genius.
So that's where it all started.
So where did TNG stands for the next generation? Was that your idea?
Yeah, so James, who obviously is my business partner, we kind of worked for the same company, and he lost his job kind of as COVID hit and went into a different line of work. But we both was always keeping in touch, and this was our idea together. So once we launched it, he kind of still had his job. So the way we sat down in Starbucks one day, we had this idea of we want to do this, and we bounced a few ideas. And during the time, Herbalife was like, because Herbalife was doing really well, they started, a lot of it was to do with the older generation and stuff.
Yes.
So then because I was involved and a lot of us younger ones were involved, we started to target the next generation. And we had like a business Zoom call called The Next Generation. So that's kind of where it come from, and me and James toyed with the idea, and he kind of was like, why don't we just do that? And then obviously we then put it into TNG Coaching, which sounds nice, and yeah, we just ran with it really.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And it's so like everyone talks about it, you know, like I've got a lot of friends who have got kids the same age as Jack and whatnot, and younger and older. And it'd be like, oh, you know, who do they coach? Who coaches and whatever, and everyone talks about TNG. But I didn't realise it was as sort of relatively new as it is then. I just presumed from meeting you and when Jack started coming there that it was, I thought you'd been going for years.
Yeah. So it was 2021 when we first launched, through the summer. So we ran our tournament, then we kind of had like... Fridays during the summer of like holiday camps. So our first camp had 13 people on.
Okay.
So
how many coaches though?
2.
So 2 coaches, 13 kids.
2, yeah. 2 coaches, 13 kids. And we didn't earn any money at all.
No.
We invested into it, like we put a lot of money into it. But with the vision of, I knew what it could be. I always knew where it would be. So we started to do our Friday night program, which we've still got running now. So we started on Fridays, and 2021 is when it launched, and then 2022 is when the program started to build, and we started to recruit new coaches and stuff like that. Holiday camps were obviously building. So 2022 is where I started to look at it and started to invest in more into like the marketing side of things, and looking into social media. I've always been one to be big on social media. So I looked into different ways of how to grow a business and grow a brand through social media. So that was more 2022. And while this was happening, I was still coaching in schools.
Right, okay.
So I was coaching in schools, and also working. I actually worked alongside Birmingham City Women as well.
Oh.
So of an evening. So I was still playing football, coaching the Blues girls now and again, and kind of slowly building TNG through that.
Yeah.
Then 2023, and TNG started to build a lot quicker than I thought, because the quality of the sessions and locally there wasn't anything like it other than teams. We're not teams. It's just extra training sessions for players.
Yeah.
We was different than anything that was kind of out there locally. That was 2022. 2023 came and we hired a lot more members of staff. Holiday camps were like kind of flying. That's where we was getting new clients from, like people seeing how good our holiday camps were. Then,
Sorry, Carl. Just trashing the joint.
yeah, holiday camps were doing really well. Then they obviously, from holiday camps, they seen what we'd done alongside holiday camps throughout the week. So that's how our program's built. And then 2023, back end of 2023, I stopped working in schools and started to work for Birmingham City, football education program, where I was working with 16 to 18-year-olds just before they go on to university or whatever. I worked for Birmingham City Coaching and the Blues Girls as well. And then at the back end of 2023, I kind of looked at TNG as a business and how well it's doing and stuff, and kind of quit, stopped working for them. And then this year has actually been my first full year, full-time in TNG.
On your own?
Yeah.
How did that feel, like stepping away from being employed by someone and thinking, right, it's on me now?
Yeah. It was, I didn't ever think of it. I didn't ever think of, I'm working full-time TNG now. I've always, over the last 10 years, I've always had something else. There's always been different. So I didn't really deep it really and think, now I'm full-time in the business, until my brother sat me down one day. My brother Ben, he was like, because he's been there kind of all the way because he does our marketing for us. He said, this is what you actually wanted, to go full time and don't work for anyone else. And that's the one time that I actually thought, he's right. I'm full time.
And that's in a relatively short space of time, really. You know, like, because you saying you knew what it could be, and you knew what it, you know, and it's fantastic. It's I didn't realise, but I've watched it grow.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was a lot further on than it was at the times, like when I first knew about you. Mm-hmm. And I think as well, because I've obviously got a normal day job. I've got a normal day job, and that obviously pays my mortgage and that. So I feel like I've got a safety net.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I've got the spin and I'm doing this now. I want to do the spin and do this. I don't want to work for someone else, but it's my safety net. You know, it pays my mortgage. Mm-hmm. It, you know, like, means that I don't have to worry, you know. Yes, I can earn extra money, but if I don't, I don't.
Yeah, and I think that's why COVID was a bit of a blessing for me, because I know it was a lot of businesses and stuff, like worst time of ever. But for me, I toyed with the fact of, shall I do it for myself before that? But I don't think, if I was to do it back then, and if I did quit my job and just leave and leave, like you said, the safety net, I don't think I would have had the mindset of what I have now in terms of making sure it works. Like,
yeah, because you have that drive. It's on you now.
Yeah,
isn't it?
So exactly. Yeah, and I think maybe that's what I strive off, and that's what I'm like. Even when I go on holiday and stuff like that, I'm still in work mode, and that's it's a good thing, because, well, to the missus, it's not a good thing. But,
exactly.
It's down to me at the end of the day, so I have to make sure it constantly ticks over. And obviously, I've got the responsibility of paying the staff every single month. So it's down to me to actually do it. And
sometimes I feel like I'm like that. I can't switch off, you know. And I might, even last night, you know what? In fact, all this week, I talk quite a lot on the podcast about me grabbing an hour of a night, putting Netflix on and just chilling out for a bit. This week's not been like that. But I think because this podcast is picking up more now, more people are messaging me. Mm-hmm. I'm getting people booked in, like, into next year now. So I feel like, but it's on me, isn't it? This has been a dream of mine for years. I've always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to make it work, but there's no one to rely on.
Yeah.
It's yourself. So obviously my parenting can't drop. I've
Yeah.
still got to be a mom. I've still got to run the house. I've still got to work in my day job, you know.
Yeah.
I've still got to teach spin because obviously that's been going for a couple of years nearly now. And then now's this new venture. I'm finding that I'm not switching off.
Yeah. Which like I always to be fair, this year, maybe because things are in place and it's able to run itself and the lads that I've got like are fantastic. I have had a lot more balance with switching off. If I go away, I can turn my phone off and I'm not as anxious or overthinking or what if this happens, or I think because of the lads are brilliant and I trust them, I've had a lot more balance with that this year. But yeah, last year I definitely struggled with not constantly thinking about work and not being able to switch off. But I think it comes down to how much do you really want it?
Oh, yeah.
I think I've always been a person, maybe because I played football and I always wanted to try and get success. I've always been a person that wanted more out of life. I've never been someone that just wants to be comfortable.
Same.
And I think that's what it comes down to. No matter how much pressure you're under, you just got to be disciplined. And that's what the ice baths come down to. Like, I don't want to do it in the mornings, I'll be honest. And that's why where I'm at too at this stage. It's about discipline.
Yeah.
Motivation comes and goes. Just like this you want to do your podcast, but sometimes you can't be asked to do it.
Sometimes I think like, I've just had a ram-packed week and I'm knackered, man. On a Thursday when we record these podcasts, so I've been up at 6 on the bike for 7 teaching a class, which to be fair is good because it motivates me through the day. But then I'm home at 8, you know, I've got to sort the dog. Luckily on a Thursday, because the boys stay at their dad's on a Wednesday night, there's no school run to do or bus stop drop off. So that's okay. And then like today, I'm here most of the day, hence why I've brought the dog, because I'm going to be out the house most of the day recording because it's picking up that traction now where I've got people booked in back to back. But that's what I wanted.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's what I always wanted to do. So I can't now go, oh, actually, I don't want to put the hard work in because it's been my dream.
Yeah.
But you do have to dig deep sometimes. And there is, you know, I was thinking about this the other day. Someone was like, oh, you know, blood, sweat and tears. And I was like, I'm not really, you know, you do get disheartened by things, don't you? Because I wanted to come on to this, actually, it ties in really nicely, but like setbacks, you know, like with setting up a business, it's not plain sailing, is it? You know, there's bits where things don't work out as well.
Yeah.
And then you have to sit back and analyse and think, okay, not so much I'd sit and cry about it, but I would sit there and think like, okay, I really want this to work. What's happened? How can I improve it? Has it been similar? Don't tell me it's been plain sailing for you.
No, it has been plain sailing. And for me, I think when things go wrong, you just got to get on with them and you got to kind of have that rhino skin and just let it bounce off you and just kind of crack on with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's the mindset that I've always had. And yeah, in terms of setbacks, like you want things to happen the way you want them to happen. Sometimes they like TNG, to be fair, come out better than what I kind of expected it to be. But then sometimes things don't happen. Like we tried to launch a new area this year. Didn't happen the way I wanted it to be. And yeah, you just kind of crack on with it and you get on with it and you learn from it. So that's what if I'm going to launch a new area in future, little things that I learn along the way, I'll then take them into consideration, such as looking at if there's a competitive company at the venue where we're about to launch. Little things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever been disheartened from something not happening throughout the business.
You know that first camp where there was 13 kids? Did you expect more? Were you happy with that? Because I know in my first few spin classes, you know, no one had heard of it, you know. A lot of people just coming just to support me. And there were times where there were empty bikes and that, I ain't going to sit and cry about it because it's at the beginning, you've got to expect this. But how did you feel?
To have 13 kids, I was buzzing.
Okay,
absolutely
good.
buzzing.
Yeah.
And like since like even maybe a year into the business, that 13 went to 20s and went to 30s, but I always knew in my head that I knew we would. So there has been times where we'd like more numbers on camp or more numbers showing up to sessions and stuff from a business point of view, because you got to make sure at the end of the day it's a business, so you got to make sure the money's coming in. But like this year we had 100 kids on one of our camps, and I kind of, obviously I was happy, but I was more anxious because 100 kids is safeguarding.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm big on making sure the kids are safe at the end of the day. That's our number one, making sure the kids are safe, and making sure the coaches as well, because a lot of them are still, yes, they're old, they're not children, but they're still young. But yeah, I think over the years of it growing, because I knew I was always, I could see it building and knew what I was doing. It's like when they say planting a tree.
I saw you put that on your story yesterday.
So when you plant a tree, you don't expect it to grow straight away, but once it hits its full height, you're expecting it. I've seen that grow and build, and like the snowball effect of over the years it's built, and there's been a lot of work behind the scenes and a lot of discipline and a lot of sacrifice as well. That's why it is where it is today.
Yeah. And that is any business owner or anyone that's like, running a small business or whatever. It's the same, isn't it? No matter what it is, whether it's football, whether it's anything. We talked earlier about the boxing and how the shows now, pretty much run themselves through the promotions and stuff. So yeah, that again brings us perfectly onto like your staffing and looking after them, because obviously you're then having to look after not only safeguarding the kids that are coming to the camps, but your staff's welfare.
Yeah.
So how do you run all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So because obviously
not just myself, but James as well with the goalkeepers, because we've got a goalkeeping program too. And then I've got Arj alongside me, who's been with us like a lot of the journey. That he kind of supports me with that, because he's very experienced as well, and he understands when to have banter, because we've got loads of young lads, and there has to be a line of, right, when is it serious and when do we need to focus on the safeguarding and stuff like that, and when can we have a laugh about things, and they support me with that. It's not just myself.
So like because with any job, with any like business, you're going to get people phoning sick. You're going to get people that morale's low, maybe, I don't know. So how, because I know that you're quite big on personal development. I've been watching your socials for ages. I know you educate yourself, and not just you. I've seen that you do, you'll get the staff together and you'll do, development.
Yeah, CPD.
Yeah. So how did that come about? Is that something you'd learnt from places you'd worked before?
Yeah, I'm big on a team morale, and obviously playing football, I always go off what I know, and the most successful teams that I've been in football, the changing room's fantastic. So I want to make sure in terms of management myself, I like to think that I've got a relationship and a rapport with my members of staff that they'll go above and beyond for me, because I'll look after them, and whether it be personal stuff or setting goals outside of work, I'm really hot on building those relationships, and if I can build that with my members of staff and we have a good team, that's where trust is built. So if somebody is sick, somebody will look after them by filling in their space. To be fair, we don't get a lot of sickness, because at the end of the day, the lads want to earn money, so the lads want to work. But there has been times where people haven't showed up for holiday camps and stuff, and one member of staff has been in bed, and I've had to call them in the morning and say, listen, this has happened, any chance? And within half an hour they're there. So I think that's not just from myself, but from how we are as a business and our standards. I think that's what we've created. And
I think the work ethic there, like I've worked for people in the past that I've not necessarily got on great with, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
I wouldn't put myself out for them because I think, I don't like you, I don't like working for you.
Yeah.
You don't look after me, I'm not going to look after you, or not going to do, whatever. I'll
Yeah.
work my hours and I'll clock off on time. Whereas, God, to be honest, even like working in the police, it's not necessarily the organisation, is it? Or it's the people you work for, so your sergeants or whatever. If they look after you, but for example, when there's work to be done, you'll graft. And when it's a bit of downtime, you'll go, my lad's nativity. Do you mind if I nip off? And they'll be like, carry on. And there's got to be that give and take, hasn't there? Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Obviously, you can't, if you've got kids to teach, you've got to be there at that time. It's a little bit different.
Course,
but I always think exactly what you're saying, I massively agree with, because if you look after your staff, they'll work for you, won't they? And like you say, it's a good trust and a good bond there then.
Yeah, and I listen to a lot of personal development in the mornings, and Denzel Washington is one that I love to listen to.
Okay.
And there's a saying, and it's basically like, I've never worked for like a corporation or like a job that I've always worked in football. Basically, I've worked in an office a little bit, and like wearing your shirt and your trousers and stuff. It wasn't for me, by the way. But I've always been someone that wants to do more, not just to kind of brown nose and stuff, but I feel like that's my standard. So if I can do more, I know how much I'm valued, and I know what I bring to the table, and I think it's just personally myself setting standards high. I like to think that I lead from the front, and if I recognise that the footballs are flat, and I turn up an hour early just to take the footballs out and pump them up myself, if I can do that, it should filter through to everybody else.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's just having high standards for yourself, and maybe in your line of work, that can be affected from your environment and who you surround with yourself with, and who you kind of have to work with, but maybe not necessarily like.
So what's next? What's happening? What's the goal?
If you asked me this when I first started it, this is the goal right now. But obviously as business grows, you personally have to set different targets and stuff like that. I want to continue to make sure I have an impact on the coaches, because there's only one Connor Mooney, and I can't be in 3 places at once. So I want to try and make sure that the level of coaching and the personal development and the standard of the coaches is high, because I know that will then filter through to the kids that they teach.
Yeah.
So then alternatively, I'm having a bigger impact on more children by doing that. So I want to continue to make sure I have a good impact on our coaches. The Birmingham City football education program that I worked for, that's 16 to 18 years of age. We kind of go up to 14. I now want to build a bit of a basically work with higher players and have more impact on giving opportunities basically for people like myself that maybe love football, don't necessarily think they can potentially go to university or have a career in sport, and kind of open their eyes and show them what's possible by having a TNG football education program, which alternatively will filter through to the Newman University university courses. So then it's a full cycle.
Yeah, because with you saying that about higher end players, is that the right term? I don't know.
Yeah.
So are they going to have to find you, or would you like scout? Like, how would that work?
Yeah, it's more, we wouldn't scout. It's more about obviously through social media or through going into schools and stuff like that, promoting ourselves and showing them what's possible. I want to. I've travelled a lot with football. I've been given lots of opportunities. A lot of the people that I know nowadays is through football. So I want to continue to create opportunities to travel or go and play tournaments or go on a stadium tour through football. So yeah, just promoting and like when you first with Jack when you first got to know us, just word of mouth, really. I
Oh,
think
God, yeah.
social media is a powerful tool
Massive.
online, but word of mouth now, not just nowadays, but word of mouth will always be there. That's a really big marketing tool. So just having a good reputation and allow people to get to know us.
Do you know
like
what I
that.
think as well, though? Because like you say, social media is a powerful tool. And I talk to people that are trying to start new things and whatnot, right? And they go, oh, but don't you like hate posting all the time? Because you think, but here she goes again. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You don't like it, don't look at it.
Yeah.
Unfollow, whatever. If it's not for you, don't look. If you're a supportive kind of person, you'll follow.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh no, but like, having to post every day and stuff. But it's the easiest and cheapest way to advertise your business.
100%.
If that means you've got to do that every single day to get into someone's head, because it will make it grow. There is no two ways about it. When I first started teaching the spin, bearing in mind there was a couple of bikes in the room, and I didn't really know what I was doing back then. I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've posted continually for years to the point where there isn't anyone around doing that. And a lot of people want to do it, whether they might come to one, realise it's really hard and not come again, or might, be able to keep up with it. But everyone really would know, or would know someone, especially around our areas, because of the amount I post.
Yeah.
Because I have to.
Yeah.
You have
And
to
that's
do
why
it.
that's why I invested in a social media manager.
Yes.
So Molly, who does all of our socials, I was doing it at the start, and I realised how much of an investment it is in terms of time, and where I could put that time into growing the business, and how important it was for building the brand and building the business. And that's why I invested quite early for Molly, and she deals with everything. And everybody that on Saturday night, I had a parent say to me, your social media is, and they didn't know that Molly done it. But yeah, she, if you look on our socials, it's incredible. And then Ben, who luckily I've got a brother and sister that do it.
Yeah.
But Ben, who does all of our videos, it's when it snowed and we released our winter camp.
I saw it.
It's just, I don't see anything out there that's doing it. And that's what we want to, well, not just me, we want to continue to be a football program, but different to anybody else, because that's what makes you unique, and that's what attracts people as well.
I think Molly's taught me so much in terms of social media. For anyone that's obviously looking or interested in how to build a brand or a business on socials, you need to get in touch with Mooney Socials, because the amount of, I didn't know, Carl would know this stuff, but like times to post, hashtags, content, like how many things to put out a day, just all sorts of stuff, engagement.
Yeah.
It's massive, and if you follow that process, it will work.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you're posting daily and getting on people's nerves, there's always going to be people that go, oh,
yeah,
fine,
yeah.
not for you.
Because
Move
you
on.
got to look at it. There's a lot of people that post like just a picture of themselves. And Ed Sheeran said it before, and he said he's obviously a massive musician. He said the only time he posts is if he's trying to promote something, or if he's sponsoring something. So if there's people out there that are just posting random pictures of what they was doing on a Saturday night selfie, what's stopping you from pushing your brand and pushing your business?
Yeah, just do it every day.
And that's one thing I want to do in the new year, is do a lot more personal videos and a lot more speaking to the camera, and getting out there, not just to give opportunities for TNG, but for myself as well.
Yeah.
Like I see a lot of YouTubers and people that probably not as qualified as me in terms of experience, but they're getting invited to so many different things within the Premier League or football things because of their YouTube and how much following they've got and how much influence they have.
Engagement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I have told myself, that in the new year I'm going to start doing more.
What stopped you doing that up to now?
Just the time and how long it takes to edit stuff and video it and watch it back, and I knew how long it took to like do social media, do Instagram posts and stuff. So to try and do that, I don't mind talking to the camera and I don't mind doing that, but I didn't have the time to to do it. But I think because everything's kind of in place now and it ticks over and it runs smoothly, touch wood, I think it's the right time to start pushing more different content out, unique content, TikTok content, which is booming nowadays.
Do you know, I think for me, it's not necessarily a confidence thing, but none of us like the way we look and sound. You know what I mean? Like, I'll go, she said something. You know, I'll watch it back and go, oh, cringe. Like, with this, I'm not really bothered because this is what I wanted to do. And the way I think of it is I haven't got anyone to impress. I am who I am. That's the way it is. It's what I've wanted to do. But, like, for me, I'd say it's more, like you say, cutting things, editing things, you know, doing stuff like that. So I get what you mean.
I don't really know how to do that either.
Yeah, same.
So I actually asked my brother if he can teach me to do that. So obviously I'd pay him to do it, but can he teach me to do it? So then, because that, I feel like I'd be interested in that, and I'd know what I'd want to post and I'd want people to see. So that's what I want to do, is learn how to edit and chop and all of that stuff, and put, where you put the wordings over your videos
Captions,
and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm learning with that. Ben's fantastic with his line of work. I've obviously worked with your brother Ben filming the spin. Yeah. And it's something, in fact, I spoke to him last week about it because I wanted to do one before Christmas, film a couple of sessions. But this time of year is busy and it's getting the bums on seats, because it's not just like turn up and do a class. It's get the room book a spin studio, turn up, do probably like a 30-minute class, go away, have an outfit change, have a break, come back on, do it again. Do you know what I mean? Make the most of it. But like, just numbers weren't there this side of Christmas. So I was like, do you know what? Let's just park it till the new year. I'll do it again, because it's a really enjoyable session as well. In fact, Molly said she'd come to one. We have a laugh, and like, I want to do it so we can maybe go out after, even if it's just down like Herbert's or something from the gym, just go out and get a drink or something after, and then like be more of a social,
and that's what it's about. It's about, I tried to have a community within it, not just turn up and play football. It's about like, can we make sure the parents understand what's going on and build those relationships, because I think that's one of the biggest things and that's why I'd never step away from the business fully, because I feel like that's why people come. They know who you are. It's personal, and little things like those socials are really important.
They are important, and you know what as well? You'll see this. You'll see that parents will start making friends and talking, like, at pick-up times and that. They might come a bit earlier and watch the last bit on the pitch, and then they get talking to another parent. Friendships start forming. The kids start making friends. Next minute there's a play date going on, or a sleepover, or a birthday party that they've been invited to. And it's all about, obviously, like we say, it's a community feel, isn't it? So important, I think.
I love that, and that's how I met a lot of friends growing up, and even like nowadays, like just meeting people through little things like that.
I've spoke about it on a previous episode, it's not come out yet, but about community feel. And like, when I started teaching the spin, no one really knew each other, and then now, like last night, Wednesday night, I had to like say to them, shut up, I'm about to put the music on. They were just, so they all get there and they like to sit on their own like bikes, everyone likes their own little space, and then they make friends with the person next to them. They might even save them a seat, or then they start, you see that so-and-so and so-and-so are friends on Facebook, and then they're supporting each other on the post. And I love that. I think I've made this. I've created this there, that little community where it's only half an hour's worth of exercise. But to some people, especially, if they've got young kids or they've got a lot going on at home or whatever, it's just that little breather. Just get on the bike, listen to some music, burn a few calories, have a little chat to people, have a laugh. It's not serious, we ain't practising for the Tour de France, just having a bit of a laugh.
And mentally, that's so important for people nowadays, especially since COVID. Like little things like that, and even if it is half an hour of just getting together and taking your mind off something else is so important mentally.
It is. And Nico, one of the lads that work in the gym, he said to me a few weeks ago, and I'd not ever thought of this until he said it, but he was like, do you know what? You're actually quite a respected member of this community. And I look at you like that, because we're that one, aren't we? That I'm putting that on and you're putting that on. But without that, who's doing it? someone, there's always competitors and stuff, yeah. But I feel like we're in a good position there. There was a question I forgot to ask you. I just want to quickly go back. The one-to-ones versus the camps. What do you prefer?
Me personally, do like coaching.
Yeah. Go on.
Financially, camps.
The camps, yeah.
But So we have play development sessions.
Yeah.
We have, which is a group setting.
Yeah.
We have one-to-ones, but then we also have camps, which is a group setting.
Mm.
Your camps are development camps, and they are also fun as well. Like, obviously, kids are not at school. It's, can we make sure they have the best week of their life and not want to go back to school on a Monday morning?
Yeah.
The development sessions are your hour sessions, which are more to do with the individual development. And then you've got your one-to-ones. Personally, I prefer the group settings because you can still develop them individually.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more development in terms of attacking and defending. Can you take players on? Have you got the resilience to lose the ball and go and win it back? So there's a lot more competitiveness, and especially if you've got a group that's shit hot and everybody's there to develop. That's what I personally prefer. But then some coaches might prefer the camps because it's fun, and we do coaches challenges, and
I love them.
We play kids versus coaches.
Yeah.
Little things like that, which I still love. I still love being there. But when we have camps on, like I said before, I've got to make sure all the kids are safe and there's no injuries, and
there's more of a mental load there for you, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to make sure, like, the safeguarding's, no one goes missing.
Yeah.
Things like that. I've seen, like, I saw something the other day I thought it was fantastic, where you turn your back to the player and they're behind you and you say, let's just say it's Jack. I'm Jack's coach and I trust him. And then they kick the ball over your head. I just was watching them. I just thought it was absolutely
Did you watch
fantastic.
it to the end?
Yeah, I did. I watched it all, yeah. I thought it was fantastic. I
and
loved
that's what I mean. Like, people that don't necessarily like football, they're still watching these videos, and that's what I mean by being different.
Yeah,
because it's not just about football.
No.
It's creating content at the end of the day that people are going to watch.
If these kids don't ever go on to play football, it's a team thing. It's learning, like, team spirit. It's learning how to interact with other kids.
Exactly.
That some kids, we're not all the same, are we? So you might get a kid that's not that very nice to you, or you might get a kid that's like your best mate. It's just, I suppose you learn that in school as well, don't you? But I think it's a learning curve for everybody. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and we're hot on that. Where we are a football coaching company, and we're there to develop the children's football, but it's more about the people. I've always been hot on developing the coaches as people. Yeah, but also the players as well. It's about, can we grow your confidence so you start asking more questions in class, or not just focused on the player. It's about the people at the end of the day.
Yeah,
the next generation of people.
Oh, it's genius. Right, Spoon Justice of the Week. Have you got one?
I've been thinking about it and haven't.
What?
I'm not someone that. It takes a lot to wind me up, and I don't really get angry that much, and it takes a lot for me to get annoyed at something, because to me, I think it's just negative. So like watching the news or something like that, I don't do anything like that. So I don't necessarily have anything that really winds me up or annoys me.
I was thinking of something for you, or for something that for some people might have been affected this week with the weather. Mm-hmm. So obviously the pitches have been shut, haven't they, at Newman because of the snow. Is that something that would bother you, or you just think, oh, well?
It happens. We plan ahead for this. So the way it works with us, we always have one session per year, which we can cancel and postpone. Because there's 52 weeks in the year. They get 2 weeks off at Christmas, 1 week off at Easter, and they pay for 48 sessions throughout the year. So that 49th session, we have one. So if the floodlights are broken or it snows, we always have one session to cancel. we're kind of one step ahead, and if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, I was thinking the other day.
Not for me. The lads potentially won't be happy with it because they're not able to work. So
yeah, and I was thinking of people that couldn't go to work because of it.
yeah,
They're losing money.
yeah,
So I was thinking, I thought that might be your spin justice of the week.
yeah. I'm not saying I like it
I'm
because
gonna sort of like
we haven't coached since Monday evening, and potentially not going to coach this evening either. So yeah, it's not ideal, but these are things that happen, and you just got to take it in your stride and get on with it.
yeah, if it snowed now till January, you might be thinking, right, come on now, need to earn some money.
Just like COVID, I'd jump on Zoom.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
during COVID, I was doing like Zoom ball mastery, one-to-one sessions with different teams.
Oh,
So there's
yeah.
always ways.
There's always a way around it.
Yeah.
See, I've got a couple of spin justices of this week. I'm thinking I might go with the... No, I won't. I'll tell you what I'm going to go with. Obviously, I walk my dog around the area. Sometimes I book a field and take her for a run round. Sometimes I'll go further afield. Sometimes I'm around the area. Obviously, I live round like Northfield way.
Yeah.
And I tell you what's pissed me off this week. Smashed glass bottles. And especially when it snows or there's leaves down. So it's
Can't
not...
see them.
Yeah, it's not... I can't see it maybe,
Yeah.
but she's going to stand on it.
Yeah.
And I was walking up the Holloway the other day and there was just broken bottle after broken bottle. And I thought, if you're that dickhead that's breaking these bottles, think of the dogs.
Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily like the little ones because they're going to have shoes on the road, aren't they?
Yeah.
But like the paws, like I'm constantly going, watch the glass, watch that. I shouldn't be having to do
Yeah.
that. So like, and especially with the snow layering on top, I can't see it. So please, if anyone's out there listening who thinks that it's acceptable to smash a bottle, just think.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's mine this
Yeah.
week. You got a shout out? Mooney Socials.
Yeah, Mooney Socials for our Ben does graphics as well for his.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Why don't I know that?
It doesn't. I don't know.
I'm going to have a look for that then.
I believe it is, unless he's changed it. But that's
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah. Shots by Ben, I follow.
Shots by Ben.
Shots
Sorry,
by
yes, that's
Ben.
his old one. Shots by Ben.
Yeah, so I was thinking
Mooney
that.
Socials, and then just the lads really. Yeah, the lads obviously they know who they are, so I don't have to wheel them all off. But yeah, they all know who they are.
Better bloody watch it.
Yeah, they better.
Mine
And share it.
Yeah, and share it. Yeah, and like, comment, subscribe, and all that crap we have to do now. Mine's the Vine.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah, so
Love that.
obviously we went out. I was out for my cousin's birthday on Saturday night. Molly texts me and says, we're in the pub, there's a live singer on, come down. So that finished about 10:30. I'd said to my mate Hayley, do you fancy going up? Because she's met Molly and Demi before.
Mm-hmm.
So we've obviously popped in for one. Looking back, I think I was a bit more drunk than I realised.
Brilliant night though.
It was a great night. So the Vine on Ruston Street, Ladywood, is it?
Yeah.
Fantastic night out. So if ever you're in the areas, just call in and have a pint.
Pop in.
Or a cup of tea, whatever you
Yeah.
fancy, yeah. So that's mine. Anything else?
No, I think that's everything in
covered
terms
everything.
of like shouting out to people. It's everyone that are close to me.
Yeah.
They know who they are.
Yeah. And if your
So-
kids are into football
Yeah.
or want to get into sort of a team sport, TNG,
Yeah.
all the way.
TNG, the next generation.
Yeah. Thanks, Carl. Today's episode was sponsored by DNA Boxing School of Excellence. If you have a topic that you want to discuss, get in touch at b31spinjustice@gmail.com or via Instagram @spinjustice.